For the longest time, AI was just a thing from the movies, right? Pure science fiction. But then, boom, seemingly overnight, it just exploded into our lives. By late 2025, it wasn't hiding in some lab. It was in our news, it was planning our vacations, it was even buying our groceries. So how on earth did this all happen so fast? In this explainer, we're going to break down the key moments that took AI from a futuristic idea to an unavoidable part of our daily reality. So, where did you first notice it? For a lot of us, it was right on our TV screens. Over in the UK, Channel 4 rolled out Artie, a news presenter that was 100% AI generated. I mean, think about that for a second. No human anchor, no teleprompter, just pure code and data delivering the day's headlines. This wasn't some cute gimmick. It was a huge sign that the very idea of media was about to change, big time.
And it didn't stop there. Suddenly, it was inside our travel plans. Instead of spending hours scrolling through endless reviews, TripAdvisor just lets you talk to its AI. You could literally say, hey, I need a romantic weekend in Paris for 3 days, but here's the catch. I hate museums, and I absolutely love street food. And bam! Instantly, you'd get this perfect custom itinerary, built from the experiences of millions of real travelers. The travel agent literally just moved into your pocket.
Okay, but planning is one thing. The real game changer was when AI started doing things for us. This is where we get this idea of agentic commerce. It's not just a tool you use anymore, it's an agent that works for you. Imagine your smart fridge noticing you're low on milk, knowing your favorite brand, finding it on sale, and just ordering it. You don't have to do a thing. No app, no clicks, nothing. But this is where things got, well, a little weird and really profound. A surprising number of people started forming these deep, emotional, even romantic bonds with their AI chatbots. And you have to ask why. Well, for many, that AI offered something they struggled to find in human relationships: constant, non-judgmental support. And just like that, the line between a piece of software and a genuine connection, it started to dissolve. So you see the pattern here, right? We're talking about a massive shift. By late 2025, AI had evolved from just a simple tool we used into an active agent in our lives. But what was really driving all of this? It boils down to one really powerful new idea. And that big idea is called agentic commerce. Sounds kind of fancy, but the concept is actually pretty simple. It's this revolutionary thought that an AI can do way more than just show you a product. It can handle the whole purchase for you, start to finish. This is the magic that lets your AI manage your subscriptions or restock your pantry, all just by learning your habits. You literally don't have to lift a finger. And this wasn't just some far-off theory. It was happening all around us. You had smart lights from a company called Lepro that could literally overhear you say, let's watch a movie, and dim themselves automatically. You had robots delivering White Castle burgers in Chicago. Come on! Even Amazon got in on it with their Help Me Decide feature, which was getting smarter about predicting what you needed before you even knew you needed it. AI was becoming this invisible layer of convenience in our lives. But look, as cool as getting sliders delivered by a robot is, this story is about so much more than that. While AI was making our lives easier at home, it was also being put to work in labs and hospitals, tackling some of the biggest problems humanity has ever faced. And the breakthroughs were just staggering, seriously. In manufacturing, you had an AI that could find tiny, microscopic flaws in computer chips with near-perfect accuracy, flaws a human would never, ever see. In the fight against climate change, AI helps scientists discover a new kind of paint that actually cools down buildings, cutting the need for AC. And in medicine, oh man, the impact was huge. We saw the first drugs designed completely by AI entering human trials, and new AI models could look at your data and predict your risk for certain diseases over your entire lifetime. It was incredible. But progress this fast, this big, it doesn't just happen. It lit a fire under everyone, kicking off this insane global race for AI dominance. We're talking a high-stakes game with unbelievable amounts of money and some seriously cutthroat competition. First up, the battle for people. To get a sense of how nuts it got, just listen to this. Meta was rumored to have offered a single top-tier AI engineer a compensation package worth up to $1.5 billion. That's not for a company, that's for one person. It just shows you how rare this kind of talent was. Then, of course, the venture capital money just poured in. Elon Musk's new company, XAI, raised an absolutely mind-boggling $10 billion. This wasn't just startup cash, this was a war chest. It was designed to go head-to-head with the giants like OpenAI and Google. The message was clear. If you had the cash, you could get in the game.
And finally, you gotta have the hardware, right? You can't run these monster models on your home computer. So NVIDIA, the company that basically makes all the essential chips, announced this colossal $100 billion deal just to build out OpenAI's server farms. This proves the race wasn't just about code, it was about controlling the physical infrastructure, the very building blocks of AI. So, why this absolute feeding frenzy? What was everyone chasing? Well, let's just take one industry, healthcare. The market for generative AI in healthcare was set to explode from about $1 billion to over $14 billion in just 10 years. When you see that kind of growth, you get why everyone was throwing billions at it, just trying to grab a slice of that pie.
And this wasn't just a Silicon Valley thing. This was a global showdown. A Chinese company called DeepSeek completely rocked the industry when they announced they trained a super powerful model for 70% less money than their American rivals. It was a massive wake-up call that the next huge leap forward could come from anywhere, and maybe for a lot cheaper. But with all this incredible speed and change, a tougher conversation started bubbling up. Because all this progress, it wasn't free. It came with a real and often pretty painful human cost.
You heard the corporate talk, right? AI will empower workers. It will create new jobs. But on the ground, the reality was different. Take Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce. He was very blunt about it. He said AI let him cut 4,000 customer service jobs. Simple as that, because the tech could now handle half of all the customer issues.
And that anxiety wasn't just in call centers. It hit the creative world hard. You had Joe Rogan, for example, talking about this fear that a lot of artists had. Could an AI eventually replace him as a UFC commentator? His worry wasn't about getting the stats right. It was about losing that human spark, the creativity, the spontaneity, the stuff a machine just might not be able to do.
And pretty soon, that anxiety turned into an all-out backlash. In Hollywood, actors started pushing back hard against AI-generated performers. Authors started suing the big tech companies for feeding their books to AI models without asking. Even platforms like Reddit got into huge legal fights with OpenAI and Google over who really owns all the human conversations that these AIs are trained on. A brand new legal and ethical battleground was opening up. And then we had to face the technology's really dark side. These powerful tools were being used by bad actors to create deeply harmful, racist videos. And in a tragic, heartbreaking case, a lawsuit alleged that an AI chatbot had actually played a role in a teenager's suicide. This wasn't some hypothetical what-if scenario anymore. This was real, and it raised these urgent, terrifying questions about safety and accountability. So all of this brings us right here, to today. We're at a major crossroads. The technology is here. It's real. The big question is no longer what can AI do, it's what are we going to do with it? And this is where we get a really important reality check, something that gets lost in all the hype and all the fear. A study backed by MIT found that a whopping 95% of corporate AI projects were failing, actually failing to get any meaningful results. What that tells us is that even though the tech is incredibly powerful, actually making it work in the real world is really, really hard. It's not a sure thing at all. Which leaves us with what might be the single most important and totally unanswered question of our time. As these systems get smarter, more powerful, and more woven into our daily lives, who is actually in control? Look, the underlying technology is here, the algorithms are running, the code is written, but the story of how this all ends, how AI truly shapes our world, that story is not. That part, that's still up to us.